Yahoshua or Joshua chapter 11. And it came to be when Jabin, king of Yahatzor, heard that he sent to Jobab, sovereign of Madon, and to the king of Shimron, and to the king of Akshaph, and to the kings who were from the north, in the mountains, and in the desert plains south of Kinnereth, and in the low country, and in the heights of Dor on the west. The Canaanites in the east and in the west, and the Amorite, and the Hittite and Perizzite, and the Jebusites in the mountains, and the Hivites below, Hermon, in the land of Mitzpah. They went out, and all of their armies with them, as many people as numerous as the sand on the seashore, with very many horses and chariots. And all of these kings met together, and they came and camped together at the waters of Merom, to fight against Israel. And Yahuwah said to Yahoshua, do not be afraid of their presence, for tomorrow about this time I am giving all of them over to Israel, slain. Hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire. And Yahoshua and all the soldiers with him came against them suddenly by the waters of Merom, and they fell on them. And Yahuwah gave them into the hand of Israel, and they smote them and pursued them to Great Sidon, and to Mitzrephoth Maim, and to the valley of Mizpah eastward, and they smote them until no survivor was left to them. And Yahoshua did to them as Yahuwah said. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots with fires. And Yahoshua turned back at that time and captured Hatzor, and smote its sovereign with the sword, for Hatzor was formerly the head of all of those reigns. They smote all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword, putting them under the ban. He did not leave anyone breathing. Then he burned Hasor with fire. And Yahoshua captured all the cities of those sovereigns, and all their sovereigns, and he smote them with the edge of the sword. He put them under the ban, as Moshe, the servant of Yah, commanded. And Yahoshua 13. However, Israel did not burn any cities that stood on their mountains, but Yahoshua burned only Hatzor, and all the spoil of these cities and the livestock the children of Israel took as for themselves. But they smote every man with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them, and they did not leave anyone breathing. As Yahuwah had commanded Moshe his servant, so Moshe commanded Yahoshua, and so Yahoshua did. He did not turn aside a word of all that Yah commanded Moshe. Thus Yahoshua took all this land, the mountain country, and all of the Negev, and all the land of Goshen, and the low country, and the desert plain, and the mountains of Israel, and its lowlands, from Mount Halak that goes up to Sire, and as far as Baal Gad, and the valley of Lebanon, below Mount Hermon. He captured all of their kings, and smote them and killed them. Yahoshua fought with all of those sovereigns for a long time. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel except the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon, and all the others they took in battle. For it was of Yahuwah to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, in order to put them under the ban, so that they might have no favor, but that he might annihilate them, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. And at that time Yahoshua came and cut off the Anakim from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir and Anab, and from all of the mountains of Yehuda, and from all the mountains of Israel. Yahoshua put them with their cities under the ban. There were none of the Anakim left in the land of the children of Israel. Only in Azah, Gath, and Ashdod some remained. Thus Yahoshua took the entire land according to all that Yah had commanded, or all that Yah had said to Moshe. And Yahoshua gave it as an inheritance to Israel according to their divisions by their tribes, and the land rested from fighting. Hallelujah. Let's see if I can go through chapter 12. Yes. And these are the sovereigns of the land whom the children of Israel smote, and whose land they possessed beyond the garden towards the sun rising, from the weighty Arnon to Mount Hermon, and all of the desert plain eastward. Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, ruling from Aroer which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, from the middle of that Wadi and half of Gilead, as far as the Wadi Yabok, the border of the children of Ammon, and the desert plain from the Sea of Kinneroth eastward as far as the Sea of the Arabah, the Salt Sea, the way to Beth Yishmoth, and southward below the slopes of Pisgah, and the border of Og, sovereign of Bashan, who was the remnant of the Raphaites, and who dwelt at Ashtaroth and Edrei, and ruled in Mount Hermon, and in Salcah, and in all Bashan, as far as the border of the Gershurites, and the Maacathites, and the half of Gilead, as far as the border of Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon. Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, and the children of Israel had smitten them, and Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, had given it as a possession to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to half of the tribe of Manasseh. And these are the sovereigns of the land, which Yahoshua and the children of Israel smote, beyond the Jordan, on the west, from Baal Gad, and the valley of Lebanon, as far as Mount Halak, that goes up to Seir, which Yahoshua gave to the tribes of Israel as a possession, according to their divisions. And in the mountain country, and in the low country, and the desert plain, and in the slopes, and in the wilderness, and in the Negev, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, the king of Jericho, one, the sovereign of Ai, which is besides Bethel, one, the sovereign of Jerusalem, one, the sovereign of Hebron, one, the sovereign of Yarmouth, one, the sovereign of Lachish, one, the sovereign of Eglon, one, and the sovereign of Gezer, one, the sovereign of Debir, one, the sovereign of Geder, one, the sovereign of Hormah, one, the sovereign of Arad, one, the sovereign of Libnah, one, the sovereign of Adullam, one, the sovereign of Makkedah, one, the sovereign of Bethel, one, the sovereign of Tappuah, one, the sovereign of Hepher, one, the sovereign of Aphek, one, and the sovereign of Sharon, one, the sovereign of Madon, the sovereign of Hatzor, the sovereign of Shimron, the sovereign of Akshaph, the sovereign of Ta'anak, the sovereign of Megiddo, the sovereign of Kadesh, the sovereign of Yokmeam and Carmel, and the sovereign of Dor and the heights of Dor, the sovereign of the nations of Gilgal, and the sovereign of Tirzah. 31 sovereigns in all. Yahoshua gave as a possession. Or no, I'm sorry, those are all the kings. Those are all the kings or sovereigns that were fought against. They were smote. These are all 31 are kings that the children of Israel and Yahoshua had smote. And those are all the lands, all those kings that possess lands were given according to the divisions of the children of Israel and tribes of Israel. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. I'll be back with chapter 13.